We're about 4 weeks into the coronavirus experience, staying home, social distancing, and I know people are getting so tired and frustrated and anxious and mad, scared. So I wanted to talk just a little bit about five concepts with you that might be helpful while you go through this time. Number one, on the news, you're hearing a lot about what we need to do for each other, what we need to do for our country, and that's true. But for you, this is about you and trying to help you cope through this time of isolation. I want you to remember this. This is a W for we, but look, you have the control. If you change it this way, then it's an M for me. So just remember, whenever the we gets to be too much, switch it back and think about me. Think about you. And that's what I want to do for you today. I want to just give you some thoughts and some explanations that might be helpful to you. Number two, what I try to remember is about 3 years ago, I was in the hospital. I've had 6 surgeries, and I thought I was going to die, but I didn't die. Obviously, I'm alive. So every time when I feel sad and I'm watching the news, it makes me nervous, and I'm worried about the coronavirus and catching it or spreading it, I remember what it was like to be in the hospital room. And so in my thinking, I would rather be home with loved ones or alone. So I'd rather be in any room in my home than in any hospital room. I also would rather have one day alive than to be dead. So every day that I'm alive gives me such joy, and I'm so happy that I'm alive. And so whatever frustrates me or angers me or scares me, it's still okay. My third point is to help you understand why you're feeling frustrated or upset or scared. Some of you who are extroverts are having a far worse time than those of you who are introverts. Extroverts have to be with people. You get your energy, your joy. You love to be with people and socialize. Introverts can read and be more solitary, and they draw their energy from within if they play a musical instrument, etc. So those of you who are extroverts, my friends who are extroverts, they're really having a rough time. They're depressed, they're sad. Let me just give you a little story, a little concept to think about. You know, I watch the news, I watch the president, the Democrats, the Republicans, Congress, Senate, all the media, and it seems like they're always arguing or there's always dissonance. And now they're talking about the articles, the amendments, the Constitution. And so that little song I learned a long time ago, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and I think about the Mayflower and when the United States first formed. And so in my mind, in my imagination, I'm sure glad I'm on ground, I'm on the earth, although we had an earthquake last week that scared me a little bit. I thought, oh God, with the virus, please don't bring an earthquake and please stop these tornadoes that just happened. But anyway, my point is, if we were all in the days of Columbus on the Mayflower and all of us were on a ship and everyone was arguing like they're doing right now, I'm afraid the ship would sink. So thank God, at least we're on the ground, at least we're on the earth. So the fifth and final point I want to make, and I did an earlier videotape on this last year when I first started making these, but it's on collectivism and individualism. If you're in an individualistic society like the United States, you're going to focus more on yourself and on individual rights, your family, and so forth. If you're in a collectivistic society, which would represent sometimes the African American community, Hispanic Latino community, Asian community, then you're going to think about the group. And so your orientation toward individual versus the group is also impacting how you're feeling, how you're acting, what you're missing right now. Now, this concept of individualism and collectivism is too complex, too much for me to talk about on this particular video because I wanted to keep this light, kind of happy. But we'll talk about that at another time. But just remember, if you're individualistic or collectivistic, that's going to drive how you're feeling right now. while we're at home. I hope you're doing fine. Stay safe.